Private islands, multi-million-dollar hotels, entire city skylines shaped by a single last name. These families don't just live in luxury, they own it. From buying the Hilton Paris ahead of the Olympics to building a global empire from paint. These are the trillion-dollar dynasties of Singapore. Families so powerful, their wealth quietly reshapes entire industries. What they own will leave you speechless. In the heart of Singapore's most iconic districts stand glass towers that shimmer like cut diamonds under the tropical sun. Hotels, skyscrapers, financial hubs, each one a quiet monument to a single name, Quek. This family didn't just build buildings, they designed the very face of modern Singapore. It all began in 1941 with Quek Hong Peng, a Chinese immigrant who founded the Hong Leong Group with little more than sharp instincts and relentless drive. Over the decades, the company evolved into a billion-dollar empire spanning real estate, finance, and manufacturing. But it was his son, Quek Lang Bang, who truly changed the game. A lawyer by training, but a visionary at heart, Quek Lang Bang transformed City Developments Limited, CDL, into one of the most prestigious property developers in Asia. Today, CDL owns, operates, or has built more than 24,000 luxury apartments worldwide. From exclusive residential towers in Singapore to world-class hotels across Europe and the US. His leadership was bold, but deeply strategic. In 2023, CDL made headlines by acquiring the Hilton Paris Opera, just ahead of the 2024 Summer Olympics. A move as elegant as it was calculated, timing the global spotlight with surgical precision. And the legacy continues. His son, Sherman Quek, now serves as CEO of CDL, leading the next generation with a focus on innovation and sustainability. Father and son, navigating together a market that never sleeps. But behind the boardrooms and billion-dollar deals lies something far more timeless: vision. The Quek family doesn't just invest in buildings, they craft legacies out of steel and glass and leave behind a skyline that whispers their name. In a world of glass towers, marble floors, and private jets, few would imagine that one of Singapore's greatest fortunes came from something as simple as paint. But for the Goh family, paint wasn't just a product, it was a canvas for empire. The story begins in the 1950s with Goh Chung Leung, a man of humble origins. At the time, post-war Singapore was rebuilding itself. While others focused on fast cash, Goh focused on quality. He started with a small paint shop, mixing colors by hand, selling to contractors and locals. Then came the moment that changed everything: a strategic partnership with Nippon Paint, one of Japan's most respected paint manufacturers. What started as a local partnership would soon expand into a multinational operation. Today, the Goh family controls Nippon Paint's Asia operations through the Wuthalum Group, a privately held conglomerate that owns stakes across coatings, chemicals, and property. Under their leadership, Nippon Paint now operates more than 50 manufacturing plants in 14 countries, employing over 15,000 people. That's not just a company, that's an industrial ecosystem. At the helm today is Goh Hup Jin, son of Chung Liang. Quiet, methodical, almost invisible to the press, yet he oversees one of the largest coatings businesses in the world, valued in the billions. But the Goh family hasn't stopped with paint. They've expanded into real estate and healthcare infrastructure, aligning their empire with long-term societal needs. From modern hospitals to research facilities, their touch is subtle but deeply transformative. And what's perhaps most remarkable, despite their immense wealth, estimated at over $12.7 billion, the Gohs have mastered the art of luxury in silence. No flashy headlines, no celebrity antics, just results, generation after generation. In a world obsessed with visibility, the Goh family remains a quiet storm, redefining what it means to build lasting wealth. Not with noise, but with color, consistency, and quiet power. Not all wealth wears a suit. Not all power needs a spotlight. In a world where billionaires fight for attention, the Chandler family chose another path: quiet impact. While others compete for headlines, they invest in humanity. The story begins far from Singapore, in New Zealand, where Richard Chandler and his late brother Christopher built their first fortune through daring, unconventional investments. But in 2006, Richard made a bold move. He relocated to Singapore. not just for tax benefits, but for access to Asia, to growth, to opportunity. There, he established the Claremont Group, a private investment firm unlike any other. Its portfolio? A tapestry of industries that shape the future. Healthcare, financial inclusion, education, and even sustainable aviation. This is wealth that thinks long-term. Take their investment in Hoan Mi Medical Corporation, Vietnam's leading healthcare group. A bold bet on access to quality care in one of Asia's fastest-growing populations. Or SBFC, an Indian fintech firm focused on microloans for underserved entrepreneurs. Chandler isn't throwing money at trends, he's engineering transformation. But perhaps the most visionary move lies in the sky. Through Magni-X and aviation aircraft, Claremont is pioneering electric aviation, developing propulsion systems and aircrafts that could redefine the future of flight. And they're not just prototypes. Aviation has secured $5 billion in aircraft orders, and the revolution has just begun. Despite a fortune exceeding $2.6 billion, Richard Chandler is rarely seen. He doesn't own sports teams or social media apps. His currency isn't clout, it's influence. He once said, "Wealth is not defined by what you keep, but by what you give and grow." And in that sense, the Chandler family is not just rich. They are visionaries, planting seeds in silence and letting the future bloom. In the world of technology, few stories are written in silence. They come with fireworks, funding rounds, and front-page headlines. But the rise of the Lee family and their company Sea Limited was written differently, like a quiet storm sweeping through Southeast Asia. It all begins with Forrest Lee, a Chinese-born entrepreneur with a passion for gaming, tech, and a dream too big for borders. He moved to Singapore not just to find opportunity, but to build it. In 2009, together with partners Gang Yi and David Chen, he founded Sea Limited, a company that would soon change the digital landscape of an entire region. Their first success was in gaming. Garena, Sea's gaming arm, struck gold with titles like Free Fire, captivating millions. But it was in e-commerce where the Lee family truly reshaped the game. In 2015, they launched Shopee, a platform tailored to Southeast Asia's unique needs. Mobile first, socially driven, lightning fast. Within just a few years, Shopee outpaced giants like Lazada and Amazon in the region. Not just another online store, a lifestyle ecosystem, from live stream shopping to integrated payments. In 2021, Forrest Lee reached a milestone that stunned the business world. He became Singapore's richest man, with a net worth nearing $19.8 billion. But then came 2022. A market crash erased trillions from the world's wealthiest portfolios, and Lee's fortune wasn't spared. His net worth fell by over 80%. But instead of retreating, he restructured. He doubled down on Shopee's profitability, cut back on profitable expansions, and focused on fintech growth through C-Money, the group's digital banking and payments arm. The result? A leaner, sharper Sea Limited, still one of the most influential tech players in the region. And through it all, Forrest Lee never chased headlines. He chased impact. Today, the Lee family's influence extends across gaming, commerce, finance, and digital infrastructure used by tens of millions daily. More than just wealth, their legacy is one of vision, resilience, and long-term thinking. Because in tech, fortunes rise and fall, but vision, that's eternal. In Singapore, wealth isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's built in stone. And if you've ever walked along Orchard Road, admired the luxury malls, or dined in world-class hotels, you've already stepped inside the world of the Ng family. You just didn't know it. The story begins with Ng Tang Fong, a visionary entrepreneur often called the King of Orchard Road. But he didn't inherit palaces, he built them. From humble beginnings, he transformed empty plots into luxury landmarks. Over the decades, he developed more than 700 properties across Singapore and Hong Kong, creating malls, condos, offices, and hotels that shaped the skyline itself. His philosophy was simple. Real estate is not about buildings, it's about people, community, and legacy. That belief became a dynasty. Today, his two sons, Robert and Philip Ng, carry the empire forward. Together, they lead Far East Organization and Sino Group, two of Asia's most powerful real estate entities. In Singapore alone, Far East Organization has built 1 in every 6 private homes. Not just places to live, entire neighborhoods. Their developments include luxury hotels, urban malls, and commercial centers that define Singapore's modern identity. In 2012, the family made headlines when they launched the Far East Hospitality Trust, the largest hospitality REIT in Singapore and one of the largest in Asia. A move that combined elegance with financial mastery. But what sets the Ng family apart isn't just size, it's consistency. While other developers chased trends, they built slowly, strategically, and sustainably. They understand the rhythm of cities, and they move with purpose. And through it all, they've maintained a rare quality in the world of billions: discretion. The Ngs rarely give interviews. They avoid headlines. But their buildings, they speak for them, silently towering above the rest. In the game of real estate, many build wealth. Few build empires. The Ng family did both. Some empires are built with steel, others with code. But the Kwok Empire was built with sugar. The journey begins in 1923 in the small town of Johor Bahru, Malaysia. A young man named Robert Kwok, born into a family of Chinese immigrants, would soon become one of Asia's most legendary businessmen. Fluent in English, Chinese, and Japanese, he navigated international trade with rare ease and sharp intelligence, qualities that would shape his legacy. In the late 1940s, Kwok began trading rice and sugar. But he wasn't just buying and selling, he was strategizing. By the early 1960s, Robert Kwok controlled over 80% of Malaysia's sugar market. The media called him the Sugar King of Asia. The nickname stuck, so did the dominance. But sugar was just the beginning. In the 1970s, he expanded into hospitality, founding one of Singapore's most iconic luxury brands, Shangri-La Hotels and Resorts. The very first Shangri-La opened in Singapore, a statement of elegance, grace, and Asian identity. Today, Shangri-La operates in over 20 countries, and the brand remains synonymous with timeless luxury. But Robert didn't stop there. His empire, through Kwok Group, expanded across sectors: shipping, oil, flour, animal feed, publishing, and property, with operations spanning China, Indonesia, Australia, Fiji, and the Philippines. Despite his immense influence and estimated fortune of over $15.5 billion, Robert Kwok is known for one thing: silence. He avoids media, rarely appears in public, and values humility above all. Today, his children and grandchildren carry the torch, managing various arms of the Kwok Group. Some live in Hong Kong, others in Singapore, but all follow the same principle: long-term vision over short-term gains. While the world watches tech titans and crypto billionaires burn bright and fade fast, the Kwok family reminds us of a deeper truth. Real power doesn't shout, it builds, and it lasts. In a city where real estate is the true currency of power, the Kumar family has mastered the game, not through spectacle, but through precision. Their story isn't loud. It doesn't begin with a flash. It begins with discipline, vision, and timing. In 2001, following the division of a family inheritance, Raj Kumar and his brother each took equal shares of their father's real estate holdings. Raj, however, had a different strategy, one rooted in patience and long-term value. Alongside his son, Kishan RK, they launched Royal Holdings and RB Capital, two investment firms that would go on to become major forces in Singapore's ultra-competitive property management. Their approach? Understated, but razor-sharp. They didn't chase headlines, they created leverage. One of their most notable moves? Acquiring the 223-room Gallery Hotel for $180 million. A bold bet in the vibrant Clark Quay district. But they didn't stop at the hotel. They acquired the retail block next door, turning two assets into a unified destination, blending hospitality, retail, and lifestyle in one seamless experience. Under Kishan's leadership, the family began a bold expansion into new verticals, most notably healthcare real estate. With the launch of RB Capital Healthcare, they're now investing in hospitals, clinics, and wellness infrastructure across Southeast Asia. A move that shows not just business acumen, but foresight. Today, Kishan RK is one of Singapore's youngest made billionaires. Known for his strategic mind, global network, and ability to spot opportunities before the market wakes up. And yet, like all great dynasties in this list, the Kumars remain profoundly discreet. No media stunts, no overexposure, just a growing legacy, meticulously built, project by project, detail by detail. Because while others build for the market, the Kumars build for the future. If you enjoyed this video about inside Singapore's most powerful and billionaire families, you'll definitely like this one about how China's richest women spend their billions. You'll be shocked when you watch it. Don't miss it! She didn't grow up with a silver spoon. She made the spoon out of glass. And now, the entire world is eating from it. Cho Kun-fei's story doesn't begin in a boardroom. It begins in rural Hunan province, where she was born into poverty and tragedy. Her mother died when she was just 5. Her father, once a skilled craftsman, was left partially blind and disabled from an accident. And yet, from the chaos, came clarity. At just 16 years old, Cho dropped out of school and moved to Shenzhen, China's rising tech capital. She took to the only job she could get, assembling watch parts in a tiny, dimly lit factory. Her salary? $1.50 a day. But here's where her story flips. While other workers clocked out, Cho stayed late, watching, learning, sketching ideas. She saved every cent, studied accounting, customs processing, even commercial driving, just to stay valuable. By her early 20s, she had built a reputation. Sharp, meticulous, unshakable. Then came 2003, the year everything changed. Motorola came knocking. The company wanted glass screens for its new mobile phones, and Zhou's company was the only one in China who dared to say, "We can do it better." That deal opened the floodgates. Soon came Nokia, Samsung, HTC, and the ultimate prize, Apple. When Steve Jobs unveiled the first iPhone in 2007, its revolutionary glass screen had Zhou's fingerprints all over it. Figuratively, of course. Her company, Lens Technology, became the undisputed kingpin of touchscreens. By 2015, she had taken Lens public. Her net worth? $10 billion. Overnight. Today, her empire produces screens for over 1 billion devices every year. And with 87.9% ownership, Cho holds one of the highest personal stakes in a tech company anywhere in the world. But let's talk about how she spends it. She lives between luxury penthouses in Hong Kong, designer estates in Shenzhen, and jets across Asia in her private Gulfstream jet, reportedly custom-fitted with sapphire crystal interior trims, the same material her company perfected. Her closet is curated by Europe's top fashion houses, and she's known to travel with a full-time style team, makeup artist included. And yet, she still insists on reviewing her new product designs herself. From sweeping factory floors to sweeping Forbes' list of world's richest self-made women, Cho Kun-fei isn't just a billionaire. She's the screen behind the screen. And she changed the way the world touches technology. From glass screens to prescription drugs, our next billionaire didn't start in business. She started in a high school chemistry class. Zhang Huiwan never planned to become a billionaire. In fact, her early days were spent in a classroom, teaching chemistry at a middle school in China. But destiny had bigger plans. When her husband co-founded a small pharmaceutical company in 1995, Zhang stepped in, not as a partner, but as the CEO. No experience, no safety net, just instinct, discipline, and a sharp scientific mind. Under her leadership, that modest operation transformed into Hansoh Pharmaceutical, now one of China's top drug makers, producing treatments for cancer, mental health, and infectious diseases. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, her company's stock surged, profits roared, her personal net worth exploded, surpassing $19 billion at its peak. But unlike other billionaires flaunting yachts and islands, Zhang remains private. No flashy headlines, no red carpets, just silent control. She owns over 60% of Hansoh, a staggering stake rarely seen in the pharma world. Her wealth rivals that of big pharma legends like Moderna's Stefan Bancel or BioNTech's Uğur Şahin. But unlike them, she didn't write a single product, she built an empire of them. And while the world speculates about her investments, those close to her say, Zhang's true obsession is research. Her private labs are better equipped than most university facilities. She might not be a public figure, but she's a quiet force reshaping modern medicine in Asia. She built her billions molecule by molecule. But what happens when you inherit billions overnight? Not all fortunes are built. Some are inherited. But what truly defines a billionaire isn't how much they receive, it's what they choose to do with it. Yang Huiyan was only 25 when her father, the founder of real estate giant Country Garden, transferred 70% of the company's shares into her name. Just like that, she became the richest woman in China before she ever signed a deal. Educated at Ohio State University, Yang brought Western strategy to an Eastern empire. She modernized operations, took the company global, and helped raise over $400 million through new share offerings. At the height of China's property boom, her net worth soared to $27.3 billion, putting her on Forbes' radar as the richest woman in Asia. But when the Chinese real estate crisis hit in 2023, the empire trembled. Property values plummeted, developers defaulted, Yang lost over $20 billion in a single year. And yet, she remained unfazed. In the same year, she made a stunning move. She donated 55% of her personal stake, worth roughly $826 million, to a charity led by her sister, aimed at education and poverty relief in mainland China. While other magnates scrambled to protect their assets, Yang turned hers into hope, not with press conferences or praise, but with quiet purpose. Her elegance, her philanthropy, her refusal to retreat from public responsibility, they've earned her comparisons to Melinda Gates and Laurene Powell jobs, not just as heiress, but a woman who turned inherited wealth into a legacy far beyond real estate. She inherited billions and gave much of it away, but our next billionaire lost everything and built her fortune from an ancient obsession and redwood. Not all empires are made of steel and glass. Some are carved, patiently, delicately, from wood older than most dynasties. Chen Liwa was born into royalty and then lost it all. Her family, descendants of the Manchu Qing dynasty, once lived among emperors in Beijing's Summer Palace. But when the empire collapsed, so did their fortunes. Gone were the servants, the halls of jade, the silk robes, replaced by poverty, hardship, and survival. Chen dropped out of high school. She began repairing old furniture, by hand, just to get by. Then, Hong Kong called. There, she found opportunity in forgotten furniture and relics no one wanted. She bought, restored, resold, again and again, until she had enough capital to return to Beijing and establish Fuhua International Group, a real estate powerhouse that would make her one of China's wealthiest women. But Chen wasn't interested in being just another property tycoon. Her true passion? Red sandalwood. Rare, heavy, sacred. Once used only in imperial palaces, in 1999, she unveiled her masterpiece, the China Red Sandalwood Museum, built with over 20 billion yuan of her own money. It spans 25,000 square meters and houses meticulously carved Ming and Qing-style furniture, Buddhist artifacts, and architectural replicas so detailed they rival UNESCO sites. This isn't just a museum, it's a kingdom, and she, its empress. Chen has donated priceless red sandalwood works to museums around the globe, from Paris to San Francisco, sharing China's ancient art with the world. And through her foundation, she has given hundreds of millions to disaster relief, education, and cultural preservation. Now in her 80s, she resides within the museum grounds, surrounded not by bodyguards or bankers, but by her life's work in wood. Her story isn't one of business alone, it's one of cultural resurrection, of honoring a dynasty lost, by building something timeless. Chen built a legacy in wood and stone, but our next billionaire built hers in skyscrapers, and turned her wealth into tech bets smarter than Silicon Valley's best. Before she was one of the richest women in China, Wu Yaqin wrote about buildings. Now, she owns skylines. Her journey didn't begin with venture capital or a golden inheritance. It began with a degree in engineering, followed by a job as a journalist, reporting on real estate development for a government-backed newspaper in Chongqing. But while she wrote about other people's fortunes, she was quietly studying the blueprint for her own. In 1993, with her then-husband, she launched Long4 Properties, starting with a modest $60,000 investment. What began as a regional real estate firm soon exploded into a national empire, with projects across Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu, and beyond. But it wasn't just real estate that made Wu Yajin different. It was her vision. While most property tycoons doubled down on land, she looked toward Silicon Valley. In 2013, she founded Wu Capital, a private investment firm that would place her among the early investors in Uber and Evernote, long before they became household names. She quietly built a second fortune, away from the cranes and concrete, by betting on innovation, technology, and disruption. At the height of her wealth, she was worth over $15 billion, surpassing even media giants like Oprah Winfrey. And even after her high-profile divorce, which forced her to relinquish nearly a third of her fortune, she bounced back with calm precision, retaining control, power, and presence. Today, Wu keeps a low profile. No red carpets, no headlines. But behind the scenes, she runs Wu Capital like a chess grandmaster, investing in AI, biotech, green energy, and fintech with the cold focus of a hedge fund titan. She doesn't sell dreams, she funds them. And unlike many billionaires who spend on vanity, Wu reinvests, methodically, building wealth not for attention, but for endurance. Wu mastered the art of the quiet empire, but our final billionaire? She inherited control of the largest developer in Hong Kong, and rules with the kind of power even presidents respect. She doesn't speak at press conferences. She doesn't post on social media. She doesn't need to. Kwang Soo-hing is one of the most powerful women in real estate, and she did it all without making a sound. Born in the 1930s, little is known about her early life, but what we do know is this. When crisis struck her family empire, she didn't flinch. She took control. In 2008, her son, then chairman of Sun Hung Kai Properties, Hong Kong's largest real estate developer, was forced to step down amid scandal. While headlines screamed betrayal and dysfunction, Kwang moved quietly. She assumed the role of chairperson, backed by a family trust controlling over 42% of the company's shares. It was a hostile takeover, wrapped in pearls and grace. Under her watch, Sun Hung Kai didn't just survive, it expanded. The company owns some of the most iconic developments in Asia, including luxury skyscrapers, shopping malls, five-star hotels, and entire residential districts that shape Hong Kong's skyline. Kwang Soo-hing rarely appears in public, but make no mistake, every deal, every pivot, every billion-dollar decision runs through her. She resides in multiple private estates, each more opulent than the last, some valued over 100 million USD. Her properties are said to be adorned with rare art, custom interiors, and gardens designed by Japanese landscape masters flown in specially for her. Even in her 90s, she commands boardrooms with a presence more felt than seen. She is often compared to family business titans like Lillian Bettencourt or Alice Walton, but there's one difference. Kwang never wanted the spotlight. She inherited power not with ambition, but with responsibility, and she protected the family fortune with unshakable resolve. She's not a tech visionary, not a startup founder. She's something rarer. A matriarch who turned silence into strength and control into legacy. From factories to pharmaceuticals, redwood museums to tech empires, these women didn't just make billions, they redefined what power looks like in the world's fastest growing economy. And while the world watches the West, the East is quietly building queens. If you enjoyed this video about how China's richest women spend their billions, you'll definitely like this one about Putin's luxurious and insane life. You'll be shocked when you watch it. Don't miss it!